goal. Some say it's offside, but this is soccer zone. We're going to finish it up here and tell you whether it's saseka or saseka. Some say it's offside. Now we want to put an element offside, but soccer zone will give clarity today.
Hey man, para ke offside?
Para ke offside. You know, Ruby Epalen, I won, no Pontuma, but you know, offside.
Well, I can't wait for it. And also, there's something big happening here today. The Carling knockout, of course, is done, which means now it's the all-star team that's going to be taking on Orlando Pirates. But who's going to be coaching that all-star team? There needs to be a co-coach from the PSL. There needs to be one of the 10 that we saw going into the rigorous training and competition with each other with Jose Ribeiro to see who will be the coach. The 3 that remain are here with us. We'll go through that in just a few. But firstly, I want to hear from you. Here is the topic of something that I already alluded to here. Orlando Pirates, sebathathile mabili amatrophy lokuqala nelesibili. Asebhakade nangenile asesikothini. Ngifuna ukwazi ke ukuthi uma uyibuka injalo ke ihlwele the fans. But hayi sayibona ukuthi sifuni league. Are they going to get the league? What do you think? Are they prompt? Is this their best opportunity to perhaps take the league away from Mamelodi Sundowns? I want to hear from you. Let's start though. Go straight to the Super Journal. Killer.
Yeah, let's start with some big news coming from Orlando Pirates. Now, we've been tracking this story initially. Andre de Jong concluded, done deal, old story. That the new story that we're moving to is now who could potentially make way. And we are being told that Tshegofatso Mabasa, who's been absent for the last little while in a couple of matches, not played in a cup final on the matches before, enters the final 6 months of his contract at Orlando Pirates. As things stand, no official news around whether he's going to sign what would be tabled or whether he would be move on or whether Orlando Pirates would be even willing to let him go in the January transfer window. What we do know is that there is interest for a player who scored, 16 goals just 2 seasons ago and finished top goal scorer. It will be interesting how it plays out. And I want Mark Haskins to just rope him in here just to hear his thoughts on the potential exit of Tshegofatso Mabasa at Orlando Pirates.
Well, that's what I alluded to a couple of weeks ago when we learned about the interest of Andre de Jong, and obviously Tshegofatso Mabasa would be one of those that you would imagine might wake his way out of the club this season. Only playing 9 games in all competitions, scoring 4 goals, even though he hasn't had much game time. He's a proven goal scorer. When I look at his stats from last season, 48 games, 15 goals, 1 assist. So he's someone that knows how to find the back of the net. So I think it would be a big blow for them. But for the player himself, I think he probably needs to make a move.
Yeah, talking about moves, by the way, we will keep a close watch on the Tshegofatso Mabasa as it develops. The other news at Mamelodi Sundowns, another one that we've stayed closely and watched it closely over the last couple of months. In fact, Thapelo Maseko was meant to move to Cyprus, but Mamelodi Sundowns telling his camp that no, he's in the plans of coach Miguel Cardoso, but if you look at the stats at the moment, he's hardly kicked the ball. Officially, his camp has gone back to Tlorkop to discuss a possible loan move, either locally or abroad. And that's another one that we will bring it to you as it happens. So you can expect Thapelo Maseko to move on from Mamelodi Sundowns in the next couple of weeks when the January transfer window officially opens. Let's roll the days back now to the FIFA World Cup. The draw took place on Friday. Bafana playing Mexico in the opening match, South Korea, and wait to see who in that FIFA playoff joins them in that group out in the Americas. Ronwen Williams reacting to facing Mexico, a draw that happened replicates 2010. Here's the skipper.
Yeah, amazing. Obviously, it's a replay of the opening game of the 2010 World Cup. Now roles are reversed. We're going to be away. And obviously, we know how difficult it is. But it's always nice. You want to play a host nation because then you get that feel, you get the atmosphere, you feel the electricity, the energy. And I'm excited and I'm happy. I think it's a good draw. I think it's one that people shouldn't look at names, but just know that them being there is going to be tough, you know, and we shouldn't start collecting points before we do the job. We need to have that mindset, you know, but also believe that we can go out there and give a good account of ourselves.
Now, the final story completely shook African football and the world at large to some degree. FIFA confirming over the weekend that they've held discussion with CAF, and guess what? They've decided, surprisingly, to agree that the clubs have been given the green light to only release players for the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations in 2 weeks' time, 7 days before the tournament starts. Unbelievable. 7 days before the tournament starts. I'm going to come back to Dr. Kumalo, but first here's Bafana Bafana assistant coach Helman Kelele saying, this is diabolical.
I would say it's totally unfair and also unacceptable, because when you look at it, you know, you're starting to make, you know, like assumptions, saying that, you know, FIFA, it really doesn't take African football too serious as they do with the Europeans, you know. So starting to feel that you are more of less important than the other nations or the other leagues, you know. But I believe that CAF will also need to make their point to FIFA, you know, because really it can't go on like this.
Doc, some even saying this is disrespect to African football. This 7 days before the tournament kicks off.
Mazola, to be precise, I think CAF, they should learn that they need to protect African football. We understand that the bulk of players come from Africa, but also we have our own tournament that they need to respect. And CAF also needs to be very wary in terms of when and how do they stage this tournament, because it contradicts the contracts of the players that are playing in Europe. Now, when you look at it, you might think FIFA is the one that is at fault, but it's CAF. If they want to approach CAF then should have stood ground in terms, we are starting this tournament on the 21st or whatever date, but players need to be released 3 weeks before or 2 weeks before, because what is the coach going to do in 7 days? But maybe on the other hand, it's good for Bafana because 90% are local.
That is true. 90% of Bafana players are local and they are in camp as we speak. But we'll keep a close watch on these stories and more. Keep it locked on sabcsport.com for more. I'll now hand it over to Andile just to dissect it further with the guys.
Ngiyabonga Mazola Molefe lapho ke asike sibheke igroup esikuyona siya Bafana for the very first time in recent history. You've got a repeat of an opening match that hasn't happened. It's Bafana in Mexico. We're going to be out in Mexico City for that match up there, Doggy.
Yeah.
And a team, I am very much with Coach Hugo Bruce when he says most likely to be Denmark in that group from the playoffs, as well as South Korea. Not an easy group by any means.
Definitely not an easy group. If it is going to be Denmark, then clearly we have to go there with 3 options, if not 2, you know, whereby if we get position 1, what are our chances? If we get position 2 or we fight for position 2, what are our chances?
And the option for position 3.
For position 3 also, probably, you know, because if you look at the Mexican, they're playing at home, and we're going to get a hostile crowd there. South Americans are very abrupt, and they can give you like a hostile reception. Yeah.
And again, I probably would agree with Coach Hugo in of saying it would be Denmark, and that's another repeat from the 98 World Cup. Was it 98 or 02?
98.
98, we played Denmark.
Doggy
as well.
was 98, Denmark.
Yeah, Denmark.
Doggy was there.
I know South Africans. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but I'm sitting with you guys and I played in that game.
But I just said,
sure.
Doggy was there. It was the last game.
Okay,
That's what
go
I'm saying.
research again.
That's another repeat there. So
Another
I think that
repeat
we
there,
faced
yeah.
in the World
Good,
Cup
yeah.
before as well. I remember that game, Benny scoring in that game against Peter Schmeichel. Remember it vividly, and so I think definitely would be a very interesting group.
Doggy coming in the 75th minute of that last game. Come on. I can tell you all about it. I can tell you all about it. Let's go to the MVP. I want you to tell me all about it. Who of these three is your favorite?
Well, Sinatolo Kasane doing the business once again for Banyana. An absolutely sensational strike to seal the deal against Morocco away from home.
Namibia with a weaker foot. Scorcher.